In an alternate world in Japan, there are ghosts. The ghosts cause accidents and all sorts of other issues in the world. However, the normal public is still unaware of their existence. This is because the government has been dealing with these supernatural threats undercover. There are divisions under various ministries that deal with these threats before they could be seen by the public. Even if the public sees them, they are made to sign an agreement to never disclose the incident, so it's all good. These guys are like Men in Black, but with ghosts. Some people who can see the ghosts and ghouls on their own are called vanquishers, and most of them work under the Ministry of Environment and are called the Supernatural Disaster Countermeasures Division, or SDCD. But the other ministry also has people working under them counteracting the paranormal threats. The threat of ghosts and ghouls are categorized based on their power level and threat level. The weakest ones are Type D, and even normal people like you and I could kick their butts. Well, if we could see them, that is. The highest threats are the Type A's and S's. Our story begins with a fire in the middle of the street. A bunch of cars have crashed against each other, and the firefighters are at the scene trying to control the fire from spreading. Soon, however, agents from the paranormal hunting under the Ministry of Defense. These people are normal soldiers, so they need to wear special kinds of glasses to see the ghosts. The soldiers shoot the ghosts, which really doesn't make much sense, but soon they spread holy water as well, and the ghosts start to disintegrate. Just as they breathe a sigh of relief, a Category B-type spirit, a giant dinosaur, comes and attacks them from nowhere. The dinosaur doesn't even show any response to the holy water. The spirit starts to kill every single one of the soldiers while the firefighters watch in horror. Even the earlier presumed exorcised Category D ghosts rise back from the dead. Well, they were already dead to begin with, but you get what I mean. The spirits are ready to take down the city, but in no time, a guy and a girl reach there in a sports bike. The girl takes the lead and defeats the dinosaur, while the guy takes down the lower-level monsters. Soon, their team members arrive in a chopper as well and spray a large tank of holy water to calm the higher-level beast. This was a team of vanquishers under the SDCD, Team 4. After finishing up with the spirits there, one of the team members notices a strange butterfly shell on the ground. Elsewhere in the Defense Ministry, the people are panicking after their entire squads had been wiped out, not only in one place, but in several by paranormal beings. Suddenly, Squad 4's leader, Sairei, appears on screen through Zoom or whatever, and offers to work together if they would set their egos aside. After getting approval from the ministry, he guides his team to the next location where the Category B dinosaur spirit has been wreaking havoc. The girl from earlier tracks the monster in the tunnel, and the team plans to use the water from the sewers to create a massive amount of holy water and drown the dinosaur. That is the most unholy way I've heard someone wanting to use holy water. The team actually manages to execute the plan without a hitch or doubt, and that's how you know these guys are professionals. The group then rest by the sewer after finally having dealt with the threat, but then again, one other member notices a strange butterfly shell of some sorts. This time, he goes to pick it up, and would you look at that, he has no hands now. A sword cuts through the man, and he is dead in seconds. Panic ensues, and the crew rush to hide as they are cut one by one. The last remaining duo try to contact the chief, but guess what? He is dead too, and so is the girl who was supposed to be his assistant. The man turns to his left, and the girl is headless as well. His life flashes before his eyes, and he goes into a momentary anime flashback, but it doesn't matter. He is dead too. Elsewhere, Team 1 of the SDPD has already taken care of the threat and is now in the process of rescuing the survivors. Naomi and Kagura, two of the SDPD vanquishers, along with their team, are overlooking the whole operation when something strange happens. All the dead officers start coming to life, attached to Category D spirits called leechers. Back in the Ministry of Defense, the head of the SDPD, a lady named Ayame, who looks like a female version of X-Men's Professor Xavier, enters the meeting. Since the SDPD was collaborating with the Defense Ministry, she asks if she could see the footage from the body cam of the soldiers deployed. Upon close investigation, they realize that all of the SDPD agents were actually assassinated by one of their own ex-members, Yomi. Back at the scene with Kagura and Naomi, Yomi arrives with her sword and a massive lion chimera and starts attacking the soldiers along with the ghosts. The agents are shell-shocked to see their friend, especially Kagura, who through Yomi was dead. Soon, they receive a message from Ayame that Yomi was now a Class A-level spirit and they needed to get rid of her. Ayami is reluctant, but the rest of the crew attack Yomi and manage to retreat for a while. Naomi, who used to be Ayami's fiancé back in the day, knows where she could be and takes Kagura along with him to the gas conduits under the city. Inside the massive tunnel, the two separate to look for Yomi, and naturally, Kagura encounters her. Yomi is not as friendly as Kagura had expected and practically forces her to fight her. The two women fight despite Kagura being unwilling to draw up arms. Kagura instead leaks the gas in the tunnel and escapes while the bomb explosion supposedly kills Yomi. But then again, Yomi was a spirit. She is well and alive and catches up with Kagura outside the tunnel. With a sword pointed to the girl's neck, she strips her clothes and places the sword to her chest. Yomi begs her to stop. After all, they were sisters, but Kagura wouldn't listen. She presses the sword to Kagura's chest, but did she stab her? We don't know yet because it's time for a classic anime flashback. Don't worry, we're making it short. 3 years ago, on an afternoon dimmed by pouring rain, a little girl, Kagura, is in grief at the loss of her mother. Kagura is the daughter of Master Tsukuchimiya, who is the head of the clan of Vanquishers and coordinates family branches. On one of his exorcisms, his wife passes away in his arms. With the Spirit Eater of the family dead, he is now a host of Spirit Eater and performing a sealing ritual to fully link the Spirit Eater inherited from his wife to his own spirit. Naraku Isayama is the father of Yomi, who assumes the responsibility of the position of the head of the Tsuchimiya family. Since no man with the Spirit Eater can assume responsibility of the family, he has now been chosen as the leader. Meanwhile, Kagura is sitting alone as she lost her mother and her father is also not there for her. She is sad and distant. However, Yomi comes to cheer her up while she introduces herself. She takes Kagura to her home where Naruka is there to welcome them. Naraku asks Kagura to stay with them and always feel like his house is hers as well, since her father and he are old friends. Yomi then takes Kagura upstairs and shows her the room she is staying in. The room is big and kind of empty for now. While Yomi promises to buy books and games for her, Kagura picks up the photo of Yomi that is lying under the table and keeps it on the table, saying this is all she needs. Over the next few months, the two become really close, almost like siblings. One was an orphan taken as a daughter by Naraku, and the other had lost her parents to the circumstance of the world, so they find common happiness in each other's company. Yomi has a side job where she is a part of the Ministry of Environment working as a vanquisher. One day, on the way home from school, Yomi got a signal on her phone to come to work immediately and deal with a ghost threat nearby. She promises Kagura that she will be back soon, but Kagura starts crying as it reminds her of her mother who left her the same way but never returned. So Yomi decides to take her along and they both enter a van sent to pick Yomi up. There, Yomi introduces Kagura to the team, a set of twin brothers named Nabu and Nabu. Yes, they not only look the same, but also share the same name. The chief with the weird eyes, Kazuki, and Naomi. At first, they are all reluctant to take Yomi along, but when they hear she is from the Tsuchiyama family, they just go along with it. The boss then hands Kagura a pneumatic vanquisher sword, Michael 12, which has just arrived today. Yomi, however, gets angry as Kagura is not ready for it and starts rethinking her decision to bring her. When they reach the destination, Kagura sees the big ghost and points it out. Yomi asks Kagura to observe what happens carefully, as it is her job in the future. She explains to her that they all dispose of ghosts that bring harm to the world, and also the phantoms that bear grudges and curse people. Then Kagura runs to kill the ghost, and with her sword, she summons Ranguren that attacks the ghosts and aids her in battle as well. The boss explains to Kagura that Ranguren is a chimera, a spirit beast that resides in the Shishio, Yomi's sacred sword. Kagura is amused to see everything going on. Back at home, Yomi's father gets angry at her for taking Kagura in danger. And even though Kagura overhears their conversation and gets upset, Yomi doesn't mind it at all and ends up having a cheerful day with her sister. The two even bathe together, because such casual scenes are just meant to happen, even in a serious anime like this one. Later, when they're in bed, Kagura shares her sadness, explaining that her father barely talks to her. Yomi, rather than listening to Kagura's problems, adds that her own parents were killed by phantoms long back and the Isayama family had adopted her. Her dad helped to get rid of phantoms that killed her parents. The Shishio that she has is a sacred sword that is passed down to her even though she is not related by blood to the family. She is loved like their own child, so she desires to return their kindness by fulfilling the duty of being a vanquisher. Wow, what a great piece of advice that helps Kagura in no way whatsoever. Kagura then decides to become someone her father can be proud of. She is a very disciplined child for her age and follows every value her father has given to her. Her father was rough with her as he wanted her to be strong and independent, so even in the Isayama family, she is very grateful for everything being offered to her. And just like that, the days pass by, and soon Yomi and Kagura grow up together in the household. A few years have now passed, and Kagura is officially a member of the Vanquisher team that Yomi introduced her to. She often skips classes, making an excuse of her mom being sick to go for missions. However, she is also a really good student and always does her homework and is sincere in class. This makes her bond with two of her classmates, and they get really close. In one of the missions, Kagura and her team is tasked to take down a Category B monster spider nearby the forest area. Naomi has pipe foxes as his help. Wonder what those are? Well, we don't know either, but they look like foxes and hang onto pipes. Yomi takes the lead, however, and allows her chimera to cover the situation. As Yomi cuts down the monster with her blade, the strange monster goes to attack a civilian on the bridge nearby who is staring it down. Apparently, she could see the monster. Thankfully, Yomi comes to her rescue and saves her. When the matter is settled, Yomi notices something strange about the woman, and as she is being taken away to sign the non-disclosure agreement, Yomi takes away the poison from her purse. The woman was there to end her life. Thankfully, they saved her. Some days later, Kagura is cleaning her sword when she sees a half-naked old man that tries to stop her. She gets frightened at this perverted old man, who for some reason was jacked like he had been hitting the gym 24 hours a day. Yomi enters soon and explains that he is Michael, the famous katana maker and also the maker of Kagura's sword. Michael makes some awkward gestures, barely answers any of the questions logically, and takes all of the worn-down swords for repair. The team is asked to work with other inconvenient weapons till then. Later on, during another mission, Kagura and Yomi face the same civilian girl from before. The girl had taken her life and had turned into one of the Category D spirits. While Yomi has no attachment to the spirits, she attacks them, but since she didn't have her sword and had to fight the spirits with a literal iron, she needs help from Kagura. Kagura, however, cannot even raise her sword. The spirits are still in human form, and she cannot seem to get the courage to strike them down. Thankfully, Kagura's father comes to the rescue and defeats all of them using the Gare spirit. Back at home, Tsuchimiya harshly reprimands Kagura by reminding her about the great responsibility she has as a vanquisher. She was unable to purify the dead humans, so he firmly exhorts her to become stronger and take the responsibility seriously. Later that evening, Kagura is upset at a bridge, recalling what her father said. Naomi passes by her and, seeing her sad, tries to console her. The two build a good bond that day. A few days later, Nakura calls Yomi to ask her if she really is fine with her marriage to Naomi. He had already fixed the engagement, but he wanted to know her feelings too, and if she was reluctant, he would call it off. Yomi, however, assures him that since she loved him as a father and he had done all he could for her, she trusted his decision and would not let her down. Well, we will see about that. One day back in the office, Yomi comes with strong perfume and makeup which is mocked by Naomi. She gets angry and they nearly get into a big fight in the office, which the chief thankfully stops. They clearly hate each other, but they are going to be engaged soon. Kagura, however, wants them to get along, so she makes plans for them with the chief and team. They decide on sending the assistant with Naomi so that Yomi gets jealous and perhaps shows some affection. However, this plan only makes the two fight some more. Kagura blames herself for it and runs to them crying and makes them stop. Seeing her cry, Yomi and Naomi look at each other and try to be nice for her sake. In truth, however, they both like each other but are too proud to admit it. Later that night, Yomi comes in a beautiful dress gifted by her dad to see Naomi. Their feelings for each other is pretty apparent at this point. Meanwhile, Yomi's uncle is not happy with the engagement or with Yomi being given the family sword, as she is adopted and he himself has a daughter of her age, Mei. He tries to make her father rethink the decision of passing down the power of the Isayama family to Yomi, but Nakura won't listen to a word he says. Instead, he reprimands his brother and tells him to rethink his choices. Mei appears at the scene and agrees with her uncle. Yomi was better than her and deserved the position. She takes her father away. Her father is frustrated that her daughter doesn't want the position as the head of the family, but Mei assures him that she wanted the position. For now, Yomi could have it, but people die in unnatural circumstances, and that's what she was waiting for. One night, Yomi and Kagura encounter a different type of ghost, an echoer. This monster can literally shapeshift into them, and they struggle to defeat it. Not to mention, there's literally 100 of them around. Mei comes there for their rescue and sorts it out. She teaches Yomi a special technique of the sword which dispels all the monsters in one go. Kinda feels like Mei deserves the position of the house leader more, doesn't it? Mei then advises Yomi to use her power wisely. This is all monitored by Ayame, and she thinks of bringing Mei to the SDPD as well, but her assistant says that she was invited long ago, but she isn't interested. During the incident, Kagura is hurt in her legs and has bandages on them. While playing with her friends at the pool, it gets wet, so they go to see the school nurse. The nurse is very kind and changes her bandage, even asking her to visit again if needed. Later, multiple Category Cs surround a location and are being dealt with by a group of vanquishers. Mei watches all of this unfold from a nearby building, but as she is about to enter the fight, she senses some powerful spirits nearby and decides to follow them instead. She finds herself suddenly facing Kazuhiro Mitogawa, a white-haired boy accompanied by a swarm of blue butterflies near the school. Okay, now we are getting somewhere near the plot. They start to fight, but the difference in their power is so far apart that, with no effort whatsoever, he pierces her with her own weapon. At the same time, in school, the school nurse seems to have gone berserk and is attacking students. She has already finished off a male student, and after devouring him, she goes after Kagura's friends. This time around, Kagura arrives and shows resolve as a vanquisher. Despite her feelings attached to the lady, she manages to finish her off. Mei, who had been killed by her own spear, rises to her feet after being touched by a blue butterfly, which heals her fatal wounds. After the blue butterfly had touched her, Mei stands up more powerful than ever. Deeply conflicted after killing the school nurse when possessed by a leecher, Kagura is given time off to heal together with Yomi, who should support her in this difficult moment. Later in the school, a new nurse is appointed which reminds Kagura of the death of the old nurse. She goes to visit her graveyard as she is full of regret. Her classmates come there and they get bitter at her, thinking she is the one to kill the nurse. Kagura struggles between the need to rid the world of spirits and the need to kill to do so, even questioning her fate linked to her family name, trying to get clarity for her future by sharing her story with her two classmates, since they already knew her secret when she literally slashed the nurse dead before them. Yomi's father calls his brother and Mei into a meeting at the same time to inform them that Yomi will soon succeed him as the head of the Isayama family. His brother grudgingly follows his wish, however he speaks harsh things to Yomi to ensure she understands the honor and obligations that come with being entrusted Shishio. Later that day, when Kagura is back from school, she finds out that Yomi's father is lying on the ground covered with blood. She immediately calls an ambulance, but they can't save him. Yomi, later in the evening, comes home and finds out about the death of her father from Kagura. They both rush to the hospital, but her uncle blames Yomi instead for not using her power properly and not being able to save her father from the spirits. Something sus has just happened. After the incident, her uncle declares himself head of the family and Mei will carry the role of vanquisher. Though it is against the will of her father, Yomi is obliged to give Shishio to Mei along with her own position in the family, her room, and even her proximity to Kagura, who is ordered to leave the family house, which is now the property of Yomi's uncle. Mei finally gets her hand on Shishio, which she was waiting for all along. When Mei finally unsheaths Shishio, her lifelong dream come true, she relives in horror the moments of her fight with Kazuhiro and remembers what she has done. Dismayed, she runs out where, under the rain, she meets Kazuhiro again. In the meantime, both Category A and Category B appear in the city, and the teams are called for action. There, the other officer team is also involved, and this is thievery foist time, such a cross-team link-up is happening. Yomi also leaves home taking Kagura's katana, driving to find and confront Mei, having realized that something is definitely wrong with her. Mei attacks her with a Shishio instead, and the two fight with each other. During the fight, Yomi realizes she is no longer a human and is protected by a stone given by Kazuhiro to restore her body. Mei confesses she is the one behind Yomi's father's death because she always hated Yomi and wanted the position all to herself. Filled with rage, hate, and revenge, Yomi attacks her. Unfortunately for Mei, the white-haired body is more interested in Yomi, so Mei's wounds suddenly reappear and Yomi is able to kill her. Yomi encounters Kazuhiro shortly after killing Mei. He assures Yomi that he was the one who provided Mei with the powers she requested and that he will do the same with her. He then lets forth a hail of spikes that penetrate Yomi's flesh all over. The team find Yomi and bring her to the hospital. Yomi remains in a coma for 2 whole months. Her body has suffered many injuries, but none of her vital organs were hit, although most of her tendons and her larynx have been severed. The head of SDCD gently questions Yomi about the death of Mei, but it is difficult to communicate what truly happened due to her condition and the turmoil the killing has left Yomi in. Her uncle accuses her of having killed Mei because Yomi lost her position in the family and the right to carry Shishio, which he takes from her once again. They find out that Yomi killed Mei, but Kagura refuses to believe it. Kagura is shattered afterward when she finds out the truth and leaves the room. This leaves Yomi in guilt, and she wants to see Naomi. She later is informed that the engagement is cancelled, as she is no longer the successor of Isayama family either, and is also considered a murderer now. Naomi's father refuses him to see her, which leaves Yomi all alone. It is right at that time when Kazuhiro appears and offers her the Seishoseki stone that will heal her broken body and grant her wishes, but only those born from hate. For Yomi, that offer is impossible to resist. Kagura, after regaining her resolve to be at Yomi's side, goes back to her hospital room only to find it empty. Yomi then goes to her uncle and kills him. Meanwhile, Master Tsuchimiya knows what is happening and follows Kazuhiro to the tower. Finally, the story reaches the end of its flashbacks, and we are back again at the same point where Kagura and Yomi are fighting against each other. Elsewhere, Nori investigates the site where Yomi was found. His plan is to find who hurt her, re-establish her name, and go back to her, no matter what his father says. From what he finds at the site, he comes to the conclusion that someone is orchestrating everything that's been happening in the last several months when spiritual beings of all kinds have been appearing more and more. Kagura and Naomi follow Yomi under a service tunnel below the ground. They split up to find her where Naomi is before Yomi with Ranguren by her side, holding wounded Kazuki in its fangs. Yomi challenges Naomi to kill her, torturing Kazuki until she eventually kills him. Naomi is frozen in horror to witness all this, and he has no strength to kill Yomi. Yomi leaves him and goes to find Kagura in the other tunnel. She finds her while Kagura has so many questions on why her big sister, who loved her the most, turned out like this. Meanwhile, Kagura's father appears there to save her. Yomi wounds Kagura's father severely when he sends Byakwe to shield his daughter from the attack. He is taken to the hospital when confronted by the chief. Though his wounds are taken care of, he has limited time. So, for the first time ever, he speaks with his heart to his daughter. He confesses that it is a harsh destiny, and he treated her like that only to make her stronger. Finally, he asks Kagura for forgiveness. He gives Kagura his power, who will forever share her soul with Byakwe. Now, Kagura is all set to deal with Yomi. Kagura and the team pursue Yomi with the intent of stopping her once and for all. Before the two girls face off, Kagura apologizes to Yomi for not being there for her when she needed it the most. Yomi is not affected at all and fights Kagura to kill her. When she has the upper hand, Naomi assists her. They both realize that the person they are dealing with is no longer Yomi. This compels Kagura to make the hardest decision ever, to kill the person who is her sister. When Yomi is wounded to death, she remembers wishing for her stone to protect her and eliminate every pain Kagura has, even if the cause was she herself. 2 years later, Kagura continues to serve on the SDCP team. She prepares herself to defeat the large spirit at a tower with her new partner, Nimura. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.